We just had those fun and games with that headlines. Trump and Xi have held a call. All right, so what we've had is headlines that President Trump and Chinese President Xi will hold a call. That's instantly boosted. Hey, Nadja, good to see you, mate. Instantly boosted sentiment. I wonder if that Trump tweet got you here. Not tweet. It's via the Chinese state media. Now, of course, we want to know what was in that call. Right. Now, what's interesting for us is straight away the reaction we've seen. Stocks surging, understandably, and importantly, the dollar moving higher. Okay, so that just tells us what to expect if the trade tariff trouble recedes. It's dollar strength and obviously immediate upside in the E-mini. Now, I used a tick chart to get in on this. Very hard to get in on the 1 minute chart, because if you look at this on the 1 minute, you just see this big candle. How do you manage that risk? You might have thought, well, seller's there, trapped, I'll go for that there, and then you're stopped out.
Lagarde was making her concluding remarks from her initial opening statement. Very little in the way of takeaways thus far. Let's see what the Q&A brings.
What's quite helpful is when the tick chart was here, you see buyers just getting trapping the sellers against the standard deviation. That gave us a nice move up to the second standard deviation. Right, nice, straightforward, quick trade. Very nice. And you can see here, this 1 minute move, the tick chart just gives you a little bit of ease in terms of where to enter. Remember, on the actual jobless data, that was pretty weak. And then we saw jobless data move low, and then that faded, as we suggested in the FX section. Couldn't really see lasting that downside, and that proved to be right. And any dollar weakness was faded, E-mini weakness was faded. And that's because the market is just focusing on one thing, and it's US labor data. The ADP set the mood yesterday with this big dip low in ADP. That's the private businesses in the US, right? That was below expectations. ISM services PMI below expansionary territory into contractionary territory, negative.
The Q&A segment of the ECB press conference is now about to begin.
Right, services, prices, inflationary. So all of that weighing on stocks yesterday, and also weighing on the dollar. NFP on Friday is going to be the real important one. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. And the market's just in wait and see mode until we get there. And job data's come out, and it's a little bit weaker, but nothing to really write home about. Now, this big surge, what was the call? This is what the market we're waiting for. What was the content of the call? Yes, they've held a call, but what do they talk about? Was it good? Was it bad? Just having a look at the news release, there's nothing to indicate whether it was good or not. Okay, so that's the main thing to be realized. So as we start the session, it's a market that's going to be completely sensitive to news headlines, and particularly headlines about the nature of this call. And it's a market that's going to start to just be paralyzed ahead of the NFP tomorrow. So you've got these two things, probably potentially flat moves.
Lagarde said with today's rate cut, the ECB believes it's in a good position. The ECB is well positioned to navigate current uncertainties.
Right now,
the decision was almost unanimous. So almost unanimous.
Got a bit messy with this value areas, but what we can see,
there was one dissenter.
Just going to keep the guard going on in the background, see if there's anything important there. But basically, the ECB is stuck because they can't give decent forward guidance until they've got some kind of clarity on tariffs. So they're just playing for time. Here on the hourly chart, just a couple of things to notice as we draw in the.
So I'm seeing a little bit of upside here in the euro, downside in bunds, most likely off the back of the comment here from ECB's Lagarde, noting that ECB is in a good position. I'm sure markets will overlook the dissent, given there's just one dissent, and a little bit of speculation on my part, but I'm pretty sure that would be Holzman from Austria, giving his commentary ahead of the announcement.
Right, so we've got developing value area at the 6,000, that's provided the rejection so far. Now, aside from that, where is the other big levels we've got? Yeah, that's staying this region. The next big level is up at the 6016. So let's just mark that in just in case we start moving back up there again. Right, so we've got that.
And for those interested, Lagarde says she is determined to complete her term, and that is with regards to speculation that she could take over at the WEF.
Okay, so this is developing, and that's the area we've hit. Make that value area low. So here's our kind of big lines in the sand. Pushing up above the 6,000 will be important for bulls. So for now, just seeing some rejection at the top of those highs, highs of the week. Okay, so bear that in mind. Let's look at the big area, this value area high, and lots of single prints up here. So there's quite a firm rejection of those areas. Price didn't really accept value up there. If we return to that, then we can start to see some value building. And of course, that is above this important trend line here, which is above that hammer reversal high. Break above there, then that's a signal in itself that that's invalidated, and we can look to start moving up towards those highs there. So we are in an important area. The value area high is a decent area for dip buying, which is a return to the nose of that candle. I know, doesn't it? Najam. Market's got a funny way of doing that sort of thing. So Najam makes a funny, shrewd point. We've had all this bad data, and now look, markets are rallying higher, probably getting an all-time high. Strangely, there's a lot of sense to that. You sort of see that everyone gets sucked in buying, and then the sell comes. We'll see, but it's a fair point. So again, it's just about managing this risk. So developing value area high, 6,000 providing resistance. We're retesting that. We've got these sort of sellers up here. If we see them trapped on the 15, then we could revisit the 6,005. So this is going to be important up there, 6,000. And you can see here, this developing value area up there. The inventory, as we come into the session, is positive from the overnight session. So bear that in mind. Let me just check that this is all set up. That's right. You can see a bit of building action here. If we can push above those highs, that would be very interesting for buyers. So you've got that. As it stands, we're in this developed value area. So it's very hard to buy into this because we're just sort of pushing. If we get underneath it, then we can look for a run back down, maybe to the 5987. All right, so we've got that area to be aware of. So 15, firm rejection. 5, dip buyers coming in, but they risk getting trapped. Push above the sort of 5997, and we could potentially have a run back up to the 6,004, 6,005.
The ECB is in a good place following that.
Totally flat now.
Point rate cut today. And there's note the Eurozone will face uncertainty.
Najam, it makes sense. It's what you often see. It's when people, if you think about it, the people that really want to sell, they really want to sell into those all-time highs because they get all the liquidity, everyone buying that breakout.
Down some
fantastic
15 ticks on the session, but the session low at 130.67.
And also, don't forget this seasonal dynamic we got as well. If you look at the seasonals, you know, when do you tend to see the weak time in stocks? The last hurrah into July, but then July into October, that's when you tend to get the weakness. The summer months tend to be weak. So a run up into the summer, and then the sell-off midsummer would make sense. Again, you've seen this weakness. So we've got a kind of seasonal period of weakness ahead. Now what we've got is just completely flat because of the, we don't know whether the call was good or bad. Now, you know, kind of a clever move here would be like a buy on stock or something.
Just reiterating once again, the ECB is in a good position to face uncertainties, but then to also reiterate that the ECB will determine meeting by meeting and take a data-dependent approach. So Lagarde just attempting to keep all options open here.
If you keep a buy on stop there, right, and a sell on stop there, you could get triggered in by a news trade. The difficulty is I'd want to have it on a single account and just have it trailing, right? But this is just everyone saying, well, is it good news or is it bad news? We don't know. All right, so we're going to be waiting here now for the open and some clear kind of direction. Close above this on the 15, then we could look for another run higher. But let's see. Close above this on the 5, and we could look for another run higher. So is it 5997? Is that the level? Yeah, it's 5997 basically. So 5997, and that should give us the run up. As it stands, everything's flat. So Delta does remain positive. On the 1 hour, buyers have trapped those sellers from earlier and from in the European morning. The only sellers that aren't trapped are the ones from very early morning and the ones here on the 4th of June. So sellers are still there just about, but they're certainly weakening their grip now.
Chinese President Xi says the US should remove negative measures on China. Again, Chinese President Xi says the US should remove negative measures on China. Those comments according to CCTV.
Yeah.
Unclear if these were comments made during the call or separate to the call.
Right. It's chit chat from China, basically. And then it's uncertainty. When was those comments made? Right. Yeah, so President Xi says US should remove negative measures on China, according to the Chinese state TV. Right. Now, is that a result of their comments? Is that a result of what's going on? Let's see. I think that should be negative, Brian, so I'm reading it.
Also notes that the US and China should increase cooperation on the economy and trade. US and China should increase cooperation on the economy and trade.
Okay, that sounds positive. Should increase, but that's sounding positive, right? That is sounding positive. Right, hang on. Yeah, I'm gonna buy that headline. That sounds very positive. Yeah, that does sound good. They should cooperate.
And Xi says the US and China should reduce misunderstandings. So the US and China should reduce misunderstandings.
Sounds excellent. Positive sentiment. I'll take some of it off.
And Xi has told Trump that China has implemented the Geneva Agreement.
Okay, this is sounding reasonably good. All right, so I'm going to keep trying to take little chunks of this
and
down.
These comments just coming via Chinese press, still nothing heard from the US side.
Right, that is sounding good.
And Chinese President Xi says that Trump is welcome to visit China again.
Okay, this sounds... a visit? Right. Okay, that's sounding positive. Let's see what's just going on here in terms of price. So we've taken a couple of longs. That's nice. Okay, there's those buyers coming in, trap those sellers. So a great area for longs.
And just within this, we've also seen Mexican President Sheinbaum is to meet with the US Deputy Secretary of State Lando on June the 11th to talk about steel tariffs.
Right, there we go. One buyers trapping sellers on the 1 minute. Okay, if I get another opportunity to go long here, push above this value, developing value area high. That's what I want to do. Okay, sellers trapping buyers for now. Okay, this is sounding quite good. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, Brian, but it hasn't run. You know what I mean? It does sound positive, but it's not running yet, is it? And we've got these sellers coming in against these buyers. All right, 15-minute buyers, trap sellers. Great. Gold star for you, Brian. You're right. That was positive, right? Good spot on that. I've missed the nuance to that communication. So all right, folks, that was $250 I just took on that positive sentiment, and just with those sellers getting trapped and just entering there. Okay, let's... Right, I'm going to enter another long. just with those sellers getting trapped there. Let's see if that can give me something. Moving it tight to break even. There we go.
And further,
Those sellers
Xi,
trapped.
this is important to dispel disruptions to the China and US relations.
That's great. There we go. There we go. Lovely jubbly.
And just seeing here that Xi and Trump have agreed to start a new round of talks ASAP, according to CCTV.
That's great.
So again, Xi and Trump have agreed to start a new round of talks ASAP, according to CCTV.
That's great. Right, taking half position off.
And Xi notes that a consensus has been reached and both sides should abide by it, adding that China has sincerity and has principle.
Okay, gonna go for another long with those buyers trapping those sellers there. All right, close that long out. Okay,
And just noting that most recent comment from Xi have seen some upticks in the ES. ES now back in positive territory, up a modest 0.1%.
Okay, very nice. Okay, so pretty good. So what have we done? Big picture stuff. We've just pushed into this next target area. 5. That's great. Wonder what gold's doing on all this. Oh, hang on, I just want to check I've got all my accounts closed and I'm not running anything in the background by accident. Let's get rid of my orders as well.
And just further here from
Right,
Xi,
okay.
says that both sides should strive for a win-win outcome.
Okay. Positive, cooperative. Yeah, what is gold doing? That's what I'm thinking. Gold,
Xi notes that the US should handle Taiwan issue
a
carefully.
little bit weaker. Silver still pushing up. Huh. Taiwan carefully. Yeah, that's the sticking point, isn't it, for China? Okay. Yeah, so gold's lower. That's what you'd expect. Silver, not so much. That's good, isn't it? I forget that silver is kind of unidirectional with this. Just thinking with silver, it benefits from risk on and risk off at the moment, which is kind of expected. If it's risk on, then people are going to use silver for industry. So I think that's what's going on with there. Quick summary. How to summarize this day. Well, I thought this was going to be a boring day. It was anything but in the end.
And just seeing the portions now, it is to sell 58 billion of.
First trade of the day was the 15-minute breakout trade. I'm trying to go short. Now, as we broke out, we just hit that bottom area, and I was out for roughly break even. But then we had a very decent trade, which was with these, where is it here? These sellers trapping those buyers. So we pulled up to that standard deviation, just shorted it on the tick chart. That was a lovely trade. My favorite trade of the day. I don't think it's on this account, but it just pulled it lower. Great. Then we had some longs built from the bottom. Really nice day. Had the President Xi positive sentiment phone call. 2 nice trades long. And then we had that final trade of the day where we just got sellers trapped down here by the buyers and just rolled it up to that standard deviation. So very, very nice day. And you can see even now, you got buyers trying to trap sellers and trying to take it up even higher. So nice day. All right, folks, take care. See you tomorrow, guys.